I thought you would have said Snowden. His actual name is Snowden.
I just got his name wrong. That's all. I'm sorry. I tried
Literally,
to get it
our
right.
whole intro was setting up his name, which you should
And
have
then,
just.
that's why you should have had me be the one to actually
You
say
should
the
have
name.
said Edward Snowden, and
Edward
then he could have
Snowden.
corrected his name to Chris Snowden.
Okay, Edward Snowden. I'm sorry.
Yeah, you call me that, and my comics being shut down as well. So yeah, I like you guys uncovering the shadiest webcomics on the internet.
Yes, yes. And your comic is about taking down the American democracy.
Yeah, absolutely. In the Illuminati, everything else. Yeah, NSA.
Oh, okay.
They're on to me. I'm actually hiding out in a 3-bedroom house in the middle of Russia right now.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, I hope you can get the accent.
Yeah, I got the accent. Yep. It's very thick Russian accent. So Chris is the creator of a webcomic called Many Muggles. It's on Instagram. And he also has a very cool website, which we have to talk about. And Eric, did you look at the website?
I did look at the website. It's a very cool website. You can make your own Muggle.
Yeah, I thought it was a very cool website. So how long have you been making Muggles?
So I started Many Muggles in May last year. So I kind of used drawing as like my catharsis during lockdown, and just drew loads and loads of eyeballs, and then loads of noses, and then loads of mouths, and then I created some characters. So the webcomic came first, and then the comic strip.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, so it's been going on for about 1.5 years now.
Wow. Yeah, go ahead, Eric.
Are all the characters based on like people you know? Because obviously the main character is you. I'm looking at the character. I'm looking at you. Like, that character is definitely you. But like, I'm going to call him Mr. Bags, the old man. Like, is that somebody you know in real life?
No, it's not. No.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I'm such a massive perfectionist in real life that part of just getting over that when I was doing my webcomic was, just coming up with the first person that I thought looked like a real person that didn't look too ridiculous. So there's like an old man on there, and the love interest on there, who is actually the only named person in the strip. The other two guys, they didn't have a name throughout the whole comic. It's the story at the end of it where they're even given names. So Mr. Bags, let's make it official.
Mr. Bags.
But I think that the other two guys, the Mandel brothers, really, they're probably me. Like a good Chris and a bad Chris, really, because one of them's quite the asshole.
Yes. Interesting. Do you work in a coffee shop?
No.
No. Okay.
I love my coffee. I'm not that pretentious. I've done my fair share of like customer service jobs and things like that. But I guess I've done quite a bit of bar work in my time. I have more of a corporate job these days, although you'd never think of it. But
did you just say bowel work?
Bar
work.
Yeah, like alcoholic beverages, right?
Yeah.
Okay. I thought you said bowel, like bowel movement, like
I go to the hospital. Be like, all right.
Hence, the old man has a colostomy bag, right? Because it's really close.
Right. Like shit jobs is what I thought you were saying. So where are you from, Chris?
We already went over it. He's from Mother Russia. He's part of the world.
Where are you actually from?
So I am from a town in a county called Suffolk in England. So it's kind of like 90 miles north of London. So that's probably where you can place me in the world in real life.
Cool.
Yeah. If you've seen The Dig on Netflix, I don't know if you guys have. I don't know if it's even on the US Netflix, but it's all about Sutton Hoo, and Ralph Fiennes is the archaeologist that kind of uncovers it. That came out earlier this year or last year. I'm pretty close to that.
Oh wow!
Yeah.
Were you like saying hi to them? Like, was there a film? Like, hi, people filming? Or not that
No,
close.
I mean they did come to town, and you know there are shots in the local museum and things like that. But it's a pretty small town. You know, it's like 130,000 people, which by you know American standards is a village.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If we had villages, but yeah.
Yeah, like over here, everything is so much older. You know, there are buildings
Oh
and
yeah.
things older than your constitution.
There are. Yeah, there really
Yes.
are. I visited London a couple of years ago, and that was
Cool.
yeah.
I visited London and Wigan a couple years ago because I wanted to see a soccer game. The only soccer game I could find, like the day of, was in Wigan. So we did it. Yeah, it was random, and what was great though too was Mr. Bags reminded me so much of the people I met there because they were speaking English, but I did not understand a word they were saying as they're like shouting behind me.
I'm glad you mentioned that actually, because Mr. Baggs's kind of vernacular and dialect is like the local Suffolk dialect. It's super Suffolk.
Oh,
If you ever want to get a taste for it, then search for Doris from Melton on YouTube. It's a fantastic radio phone in. It's so funny, but yeah, if you want to take if you want to take the mick out of a local accent, then that would be it.
Okay.
interesting. Yeah, it's hard not to just ask you a lot of questions about England.
Yeah, but we should probably focus on the stuff that
Yeah.
That's still far away.
Yeah. Cool. So, Mr. Bags, how did you even come up with that character? Just wondering.
I just have loads and loads of really random ideas, and you know, I kind of felt inspired in a way. So during lockdown, you know, when I was drawing, I had like Google Keep open, so just taking loads of notes, and I tried to keep my comic really concise. So everything is like blocks of 5. So what
Yeah.
happens 5 frames, and it was just like spilling out of me. So he's got like this whole backstory and everything that I wanted to do after what I've already done. But I'm kind of at a place with it where, you know, I've got other ideas that I want to work on. And it all ties in together. And I don't know if I can really talk about it yet, because that will like massive spoiler alerts. So
Yeah.
maybe you'll get it out of me later. But yeah.
Nice. And was this your first like foray into webcomics, or?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I'd never done anything like that before. I know that you guys normally ask about like influences and things like that, but you know, comics have never, unfortunately, been a big part of my life before. You know, I think that although I've kind of been on the fringe, you know, I'm a bit nerdy in my own way. I was really drawn to music, and you know, I've got friends that were really drawn to comics. So I was always really picky with comics. You know, I liked some Top Cow stuff like Rising Stars was fantastic. You know, Witchblade, Darkness, that kind of stuff. Mainly from like an art perspective because it was so cool. But I think that I really discounted a lot of comics where the art wasn't up to my standards, but it was the story that kind of blew it away. But yeah, you know, I've always been more into my music than comics, I think.
I see. And
Are you
what
still
do you
doing-
play? Do you play drums? Everyone plays drums. that comes
Everyone
on
plays
the
drums.
Yeah, like I wish
No.
I either had the space and not the money, or the money and not the space.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I never got into playing drums, unfortunately. What about you
Okay.
guys?
I played piano. I
Okay.
don't think Eric played
The
Eric played
euphonium,
the euphonium when we were
from
in
like
middle school.
for like 3 years, and then like I realized I absolutely like by 7th grade I realized I absolutely hated it so much. I just didn't care anymore.
You really
But like,
did. Yeah.
and then it was like when it came to 8th grade, I'm like, oh, screw it. I forgot to like switch by that time. Like it's just not worth it anymore. So by 8th grade came around, I'm like, all right, whatever. It doesn't matter anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think band is probably, I don't know, I get pretty much everything that I know about America from like TV, movies, that kind of stuff. So I always imagine that band is like a big deal to you guys, and everybody has to play an instrument in school. But I don't know,
No.
Eric. You just said
No.
something so like esoteric and niche. I've never even heard of that instrument before.
It's
Euphonium,
euphonium. Do you know the
That's-
baritone at all? Or
baritone.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah, that's what it is.
it's the same thing, just different shape.
Right. Okay. So it's not in the same way that we have real words over here, and then you guys bastardize them with your spelling and pronunciation.
Yeah,
That's correct. Yes.
that is very correct.
Uh-huh.
So you don't play any instruments? You just into?
No, like I had my time
Okay.
with guitar and bass,
Oh, cool.
but I think, and my girlfriend will put it down to me being a Virgo, that if I'm not good at it straight away, then I'll just put it down again and move on to something else.
Interesting.
Yeah, and drawing was very much the same kind of thing for me as well. I picked up drawing, I think when I was maybe like 3 or 4 years old, drawing Sonic the Hedgehog off the Sonic the Hedgehog 1 and 2 cassettes that I had for my Sega Master System and the Mega Drive back in the day. We were all like a similar age, so I imagine that you had the same kind of
Oh,
thing
for
going.
sure.
Yeah.
Oh, for sure.
But that was me. That was my foray into drawing. I've picked it, I put it down and picked it up and put it down and picked it up so many times, but it's always something that I've kind of been able to do. So when I was looking for a way to kind of keep myself sane when we were all locked down during lockdown, the drawing like a no-brainer. It helped me just to like zoom in and space out, really.
Yeah, because that's one of the cool things about your comic is that it's dry. It looks like it was drawn by a super professional like artist,
That's cool.
like somebody who's been drawing for Family Guy or something.
Yeah.
Or yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah. So like when you say that this is your first project and that you haven't looked at comics ever and you're not much of a drawer or an artist, like that's surprising, to hear actually.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
cool. Like I said, I've got more of like a corporate job now, so generally I'll have like a pad of paper so I can make some notes, but I often find myself drawing in that. But that's the same kind of stuff. Like again, eyeballs, I seem to have a thing about drawing eyes, or like 3D letters, that kind of stuff. So art has always been like part of my orbit, and I think that it's good to keep things in your orbit because even if it's not right for you now, it will come back around again. And yeah, it's good to kind of keep those influences in your life.
Yeah.
But that's cool. I really appreciate you saying that it could be on like Family Guy or something. I don't know. I think.
Are you like a fan of video games / movies? Because I mean, obviously, there's direct references to like the Blair Witch Project in your works.
I'm glad you said it, yeah.
So, and then also, like, I thought the very end when you start mentioning somebody, I'm like, are you a huge fan of Alan Wake? Just because it was a huge, just like Alan Wake reminder of me. So I don't know if you've ever even heard of that game.
Not really. I've heard the name, but
okay.
Yeah, I'm generally terrible with names as well. My memory is shocking. But yeah, you must have picked up on like the Golgothan, the shit from Clerks in there as well.
Yeah.
Jay and Silent Bob. I'm sorry, in Dogma. Get the reference right.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I got that reference.
There's lots of things like that. And yeah, like the Blair Witch Project. There's like a whole story that I was going to do like after that, and the figures, they've got like a longer sort of vertical part because they're long schlongs really, and he wakes up the next day and he's confronted by the drag wizard and the Blair bitches. So there's like references to like RuPaul's Drag Race, everything in there as well. So
cool.
Yeah, I cast a really wide net when it comes to inspiration.
Because yeah, even says at the very end, the Wizard of Barge. So
yes, of course, he's awesome. Fantastic artist. Yeah, that kind of stuff is really cool.
Did you study any specifics when you started drawing Many Muggles, or and what came first, the website kind of creator or the comic?
Yeah, So like the website came first.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah, like I came up with it really because I think the Christmas 2019 I was playing a lot of this mobile game called Hustle Castle, and I sunk loads of hours into that game. And it's kind of like Fallout Shelter, where you kind of build your castle and you've got different rooms, but there's PvP elements to it and things like that. But everybody has kind of the same kind of eyes, one of a few different faces, that kind of stuff. And it got me thinking, like, how cool would it be if you could actually like make yourself? Um, so I wanted to do like these like mug shots that you could put on a mug, and they were going to be like holding signs, like classic mug shots, really. And as I was drawing more and more, that kind of developed as an idea into many Muggles. But there's like a character creator which came first, and then that was purely to be able to make personalized coffee mugs like this one. It's got my name, my face, and how I like my coffee. So going into like the office, and I've got like a web shop on there set up and everything as well, which has kind of more of a background into where I was coming from with everything, what my inspirations were. And I started this new job, and you open up the kitchen cupboard and you're looking for a mug to make your coffee, and I'm like, I don't want the Game of Thrones one, I don't want the Liverpool FC one, I don't want the random ones, because they all belong to people. So what could I use, and what's going to be mine to kind of distinguish that it's my mug? And I couldn't think of like a better way to do it than what I came up with. And I thought, you know what, this is going to be a sick idea. Everybody's going to go for it. And then no for any of my mugs. So like I need to find a way to get people to like be interested and kind of educate people into like what I was doing. And some content to put on like Instagram and social media. And I thought, let's kind of show off some of the things that you can do with it and start making characters. And then I made like this webcomic because I had all of these ideas going back like months, and all of these kind of episodes, the way that I would kind of think about it. So rather than doing like pages and panels, that I was always thinking of it as more of like a TV show. And I think it kind of works in that way. But yeah, I kind of standardized people for me, and for the perfectionist in me to ease, really. That I think one of you guys said in one of the other podcasts that you can't get like the same person to look the same in two different panels, and that's like a big issue.
It's a really, like, to be able to do that is a really big skill. I mean, just because like you ever like look at somebody that just draws something freehand, they're like, okay, can you do that again? And they did it again. That's insane. It's always super impressive.
Yeah, for sure. So if I could use like the character creator that I made to standardize that so that they always look the same, but they've got like different eyes, the same nose, different mouth or whatever, so I can control the expression, then it gives me the kind of form that I'm looking for.
That's cool. Yeah, that's where the connection to animation lives, I think. Because essentially that's how they do it. They keep the same basic frame and switch out the eyes, and
right.
Yeah. Each like frame is a different mouth, Yeah.
I was really lazy and reused a lot of the same backgrounds and things like that. So I should probably have published more frequently than I do. I haven't done anything in like 7 weeks. So I feel really bad for that, but I've actually been working on the website, improving the functionality, adding like glasses and things like that, which I never had before. Unfortunately, I still didn't have a bald one, and Keegan said that you were going to mention that.
I went on there. I thought, oh, this will be cool for our like podcast. We'll make little Eric and little Keegan. Can't make Eric. Not even close.
Not even close. And like here, so like I'm gonna share my screen really quickly. That's okay?
Cool.
Okay.
Let me go do that. How do I do that? 1 second.
Yeah.
Screen share. Cool. So here's your website, really, so you can see like. Can you?
Can't see your screen.
Yeah, can you see it? So Like, so this is just like us, like what I did. So like, if I had hair, this is like what I'd want it to be. Because like, I'm not wearing it right now, but I always wear a hoodie. As in, like, Keegan's yelled at me to get more hoodies because I always wore the same hoodie over and over again.
Yeah, and it has holes in it.
Like, so the hoodie is, I think, it's like over, I think, like 13 years old, and like it's been. I use it to paint. I've used it to like not like paint like actual paint, like paint like a side of a wall. And so like it's just like there's like paint drippings and everything on it. It's just clearly not a well designed area. So it's not holding up so well. But so King Soon, so like there's that, the like the glasses, my face, everything like this too. The only thing I'm actually missing is this is not my hair. I wish it was
not even
my hair.
close. Yeah,
Not even close. But I wish it was my hair, but it's not my hair.
Yeah, you know, you actually have different glasses as well. So
Oh.
I've got some more kind of square ones. If you go towards the
there you go.
Yeah, I go with these. Right there, there they are.
There they are. Yeah, and the eyebrows match because you. Yeah, for sure.
I do. I have very bushy brows.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
yeah.
I mean, apart from that, I like it. You know, I'm gonna get a bald one for you, Eric. I was saying to you before that, yeah, I'd love to do like a collaboration with you guys, and I'll sort you out with a bald one if that's what you desire.
For sure.
Yeah, we'll definitely be ordering one. I'll definitely be ordering one when I can get my hair cut and everything to match in there. So
I've tried to convince Eric to grow his hair again.
No, my problem is like I don't have the hair, and like I don't. No matter how much Rogaine I will use, it will always be there, and I'm not going to. There's a famous football player by where we grew up who like American football who was bald his entire career, and then as soon as he retired, he got a bunch of hair transplants, and
That's right.
and people just don't like it.
Right. Yeah. You kind of hear about those horror shows where somebody gets like a hair transplant, but their follicles were taken from a place that we won't mention, and then when it grows back in a particular fashion.
Oh, God. It's so gross, and you didn't even say anything.
Yeah.
Hey, well, like you said, Keegan, we don't know who's watching this, but
yeah,
I'm expecting for my account to be closed down in the next couple of weeks. So yeah, thanks for having me on.
We'll get a very firmly written letter, and we'll be very upset. Thanks, guys. You stink.
But I think I made mine pretty good. Did you add a hat though?
I have not added hats yet.
Yeah, see, I think you also need to add a hat.
Yeah,
I know I need hats, but I think that the way that I've drawn it and the way that I've designed it, like normally with a hairstyle that you've got like a set hairstyle, right?
Yeah.
Have different ones, but it's, you know, it's that one and it's that one. But the way that I've done it on the creator is that essentially you've got like the back and the front. So you've got like the hairline, and then you've got the hairstyle, which gives you so much extra freedom. That there's loads and loads and loads of different hairstyles. Like I think I worked it out that there's like over 2 billion combinations in total with all of the different parts.
Oh, cool.
When I work it out how to do like a bald hairstyle and get the hairline right and get the hats in and all the other accessories, then yeah, it'll be done.
Yeah, maybe could you cancel out the front if you do the hairstyle is bald? Could it cancel out the maybe that would has to be connected somehow.
Yeah, it's all the coding and everything as well. So excuse me, I'm a really lazy coder. It's enjoyable. I like to be able to make something. So I'll kind of learn as much as I need to just so I can do what I want. And I don't know, being bald is hard, right? Eric, you must know all about that.
I do. I've faced many struggles. The only thing I do like is like my friends that they're complaining when it's raining out. They're like, "Oh, my hair's ruined." I'm like, "This is my superpower."
Yeah, I've been through it all. You know, I've had long hair, like really long hair. I've had like a skinhead, and you know, this is just kind of me. I need a haircut, but yeah, it's all mine. Not from any indescribable locations from elsewhere on my body.
Oh, they're very describable, but we're not going to.
Yeah, in fact, it's probably the most describable parts, right?
Yeah, for sure. That's so funny. So cool. Well, I can't code at all. So I completely, this is just a really cool way of making comic book characters.
Cool, thanks.
Does your girlfriend have one of your mugs or no? I'm so curious. I'm just
No,
curious.
she doesn't, because I think that obviously she wouldn't appreciate it. But on my Instagram, the first one that says like I need more caffeine or whatever it says, that's kind of like me as well. That was like the first time that I made me, and then the girl with the pink background that says love in a mug, super soppy, but that's my girlfriend.
Oh, cool.
That's cool.
She's there, but and then the one that says geology Tim loves big rocks. That's a really good friend of mine as well. So you know, they're kind of people that I know. But yeah, this is the only mug that's in existence at the moment because nobody buys my coffee mugs.
Well, you got to get them out there more. Yeah, I think.
Exactly. Yeah, of course. Like because I do literally like everything myself. So the website, the webcomic, everything, and it's just kind of like a spare time thing. You know, I've got a day job and I've got other commitments. I'd love to make it like a full-time gig, but you know that's somewhere down the line, isn't it? So yeah, we'll see how things go.
Well, if we ever see you in Dragon's Den, we can be like, hey, we saw you first.
I thought it's Shark Tank over.
It's Shark Tank in America, Dragon's Den in England, though. So
Shark Tank is better though. Like who is it? Like Kevin O'Leary, people like that. There's like 3 seasons of it on Netflix over here, and I binge watched that quite a while ago. But you know, people go in and they're like, I want $2 million for a 5% stake in my business, and you know, people come on Dragon's Den and they're like, I want 50 quid for half of my company.
You ever watch the Australian one? That one's absolutely hilarious because like, because there's so many people that show up. So like I was watching one of their guys like I invented this like thing. He's like you guys can have 100% of it for a 24-pack of beer and a steak dinner. and the guy's like and like one guy's like I don't know if I could do that. And the guy's like it's like 24-pack of beer and a steak dinner for a patent. I'll take it. And he's like. And then the guy, then somebody's like, I'm going to outbid you. I'm like, I'm going to give you 2 24-packs of beer and a steak dinner. He's like, sorry, 2 24-packs of beer is better. He took the deal. He sold like his company for that.
Sure. It's all perspective, right? And I don't know, I won't start talking about national issues with alcoholism.
Yeah. Well, no, next kind of too deep for us. We're dumb, so we can't talk about that.
Yeah, no, I mean, you guys keep talking about how you need
a catchphrase.
Catchphrase, yeah, exactly. Yeah. And when I started listening to you guys, and you're like, we need a catchphrase, you know, the first thing that I thought of was dumb comic creators because books are hard.
That's actually a really good one.
That's a pretty good one.
That's a really good one, actually.
Like stuck in my head this whole time, but then because I've got so many ideas and the way that I've finished off that particular part of the webcomic with like a short story, and I would really like to do more like sci-fi stories. Like I thought, man, it's going to be really douchey if I come in saying, you know, because books are hard, but then I'm like, hey, here are all my books that I'm doing.
Wait, are you writing? Are you writing books now? Are you gonna switch? Not switch, but like also continue that way?
Yeah, exactly. So I mean, I'm really into authors like Philip K. Dick and like sci-fi short stories. I've got a really like short attention span. So like I've been reading Dune, and I've got the first like one, and it's well over 1,000 pages, and I'm like, I'm gonna read this again before the movie comes out. Like I'm really excited about the film. I'm such like a slow reader as well, so when we say because books are hard, like from my perspective, it's just hard for me to read.
It's hard to find time. It's hard to like sit down and actually do it. Yeah,
exactly. So I don't know. I just find reading tough. But so there are definitely some more short stories that I would like to do. There's a reason why the short story at the end of the comic is called Again. And like, I don't know if you noticed it, but it's kind of like Groundhog Day, but over 3 days.
Oh, okay.
Oh, okay.
I didn't
Yeah.
pick that.
No, that's cool. I can talk about that. But obviously, at the spoilers for whoever might end up looking at this webcomic, but obviously he come like page 3. The conversation is the beginning of the webcomic where he's talking about how he needs more customers and how the tea room over the road is doing. So that conversation is all the beginning of the comic. So it goes around in a loop.
Oh, wow, cool.
Got the old guy that comes into the shop and he's like, I recognize that guy died 2 days before, but he's so desperate for a customer that he puts on like this brave face and he's like, hey, welcome to Mandel Bros. So all full circle. So it's just doing it again, again, and again. So he's kind of stuck in that cycle, in that loop. But the way that I've been thinking about it really is that that we all make different choices in life, and sometimes you might be where you feel like you're supposed to be, but a decision that you made, say 5 years ago or 10 years ago, like the whole butterfly effect thing, like doing something when you're a kid can completely change your circumstances. The way that I would do the comic continuing would be to have like the same characters in there, but they have different personalities or different names, or they're in different relationships and things like that. So I don't know, probably nobody's picked up on it either, but like Neil, the guy with the beard, kind of gets really douchey like halfway through the comic. That's kind of Alan, who is the other guy, has kind of stumbled into like this next dimension. So it's the 3-day loop going over again.
Oh, wow.
But that his brother has changed and he just thinks that he's being a real asshole, being a real jerk, but it's because he's different.
Wow, cool.
Yeah.
No, I didn't pick up on that, but that's
I
awesome.
didn't see that either.
Yeah. What a cool idea for a comic.
Yeah.
Also, you've tracked your characters in the comic and they're aware that they're in the comic. Is that correct?
Yes, yeah, exactly.
Okay.
So the girl comes in and she's like, there's no furniture, and he's like, oh, I haven't drawn it in yet, but this is the best coffee in the strip. So strip has in like a strip of shops, or like
comic strip, yeah.
A comic strip also, yeah. And I didn't draw the furniture in because from the perspective, like it's quite a small shop.
Mm-hmm.
Like outside is like a traditional kind of British house, really. Styled after Black Books, which is a TV show over here that had Dylan Moran and Bill Bailey. Really, really cool. But yeah, it plays into like a lot of different things. But I didn't draw the furniture in because it was actually just quite difficult. So I wrote that into the comic. Like there's a reason why there's no furniture, and it's because he doesn't want his customers to hang around.
Yeah.
Because then they'd be able to sit down, right?
Right. And then they'd stay. Yeah. That felt like a very classic service industry type of response,
The worst thing about working in a service industry is the customers. It's like always number one seen and heard.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, exactly. And I've got that history. I've worked in shops and supermarkets and bars, and I've worked in customer service on the phone, in like insurance, and all of these Muggle jobs.
Yeah.
But that's just kind of how life has turned out. But it's the creative things that I've been doing outside of work that kind of keep me grounded to who I am.
Yeah, I think a lot of people relate to that. At least I do, for sure. Yeah, I worked in IT for like 5 or 6 years, and basically the second I was off the job, I was doing something creative. So
Yeah, awesome.
yeah.
Yeah, I work for a computer hardware distributor at the moment. So
Oh, cool.
I'm in IT as well. But I'm more of like a trainer and content creator for them now. I've kind of carved out like this position for myself where I'm like, you didn't know that you need this, but here's all of the stuff that I'm telling you that you need. And then they're like, oh my God, we need this.
Oh,
Um,
cool.
yeah. So that kind of, I've been able to be a bit more creative, like in work really.
Yeah.
But all of my kind of experience has given me like ideas and inspiration for different stories that I want to do.
I actually ended up I actually ended up printing the newsletter for the company, like being the graphic designer for that. So I relate to that, like finding the creative at your job. But the newsletter had a comic that I made each month
Awesome. Okay.
called Taxicorn. It was a tax company, and the
Oh,
Taxicorn was always getting himself into trouble, and then obviously he needed the help from the company in the very last. But I remember like there was some like weird, like I had some sci-fi elements to that Taxicorn. Yeah, so I don't know. I don't know.
no,
I was happy that I made a comic at work. I think.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, for sure. You know, I think drawing a comic and things like that, it seems to be on like a lot of people's bucket lists. So I'm glad that I've been able to tick it off, but there's so much more that I want to do with it. So although I might be slow with the content, I'm definitely in it for like the long haul.
Cool. Cool.
Like a creative platform to get my own ideas out. So I think that's what I've been really missing. That I'll have all of these ideas, but I don't have a way to kind of anchor it. But then when I came out with the character creator and I started doing the webcomic, and I've kind of created this like a multiverse, literally,
Yeah.
um, because it really is like multi-dimensional. That you understand that point where I've got something now that can keep me doing things and getting those ideas out.
What is so you have a lot of posts for this story, right? And often on the posts it mentions like, oh, I'm sorry, I'm a little late with this comic. Oh, this took me a lot longer. Or, oh, I made two in 1 week. Whoa,
Mhm.
you know, like
Uh,
what is that pressure that you feel to like release things on time or like because this is like your side like hobby basically, right?
yeah,
Like is it weird to feel pressure to release things on time or um when you think
yeah,
about it, you know?
yeah. I mean, I guess that I'm used to working to deadlines, but I'm generally really lax about it.
Mhm.
So I have it in my head that I would like to do something every fortnight, really. But then if it doesn't happen and ends up being 2.5 weeks or 3 weeks or whatever, then you know it is what it is.
Yeah.
But I I guess at least in the beginning I was kind of holding myself to the standard of other people in the community that were posting it like 3 times a week, stuff like that. So
Yeah.
well, I'm posting literally like twice a month if I'm lucky, and I'm like, oh my god, I look really lazy. But it's not the case. Like I'm just working on like the website and the shop and getting like accounts made up on there and all of this other kind of stuff. Um, so I kind of feel a pressure in a way, but if I don't hold to it, then I'm not going to feel that terrible about it.
Right, right. Yeah, because I have that same feeling about this podcast. Podcasts come out once a week, right? Like
Yeah.
that's like the standard. And if you're and it's like this big, it feels like a lot of pressure to like do that on time every single week. Uh when really there is no pressure. Like no the people who are gonna know this are not gonna cancel, like stop listening to you because you like missed a week or like are a few days late, you know?
One of
Yeah,
my
Um,
exactly.
one of my favorite things is like a comic actually where they show like the master person like, oh, and then like the new person like, oh, look at this awesome cake, like I could never do anything good, whereas the audience sees like, oh, awesome, another cake. It's not like because like people that are inside that like are working on it, they always think that their stuff's not good enough, but realize like people outside are just excited to get to experience and read something new. So
Okay, yeah, that's true. That's a good perspective, actually, Eric. You know, when you guys are saying that, you know, you try and hold yourself to a 1 week deadline. Like I said, I do listen to you guys on a weekly basis, so it's quite nice to listen to you guys when I'm like sitting in the park on my lunch break. Like I've got a sandwich, and you guys are quite chill to listen to. So I do enjoy it. Otherwise, it's you know, music or other podcasts and things like that. But yeah, you know, I do get a bit disappointed if it's not there when I expect it to be on like a Monday or a Tuesday. But
Okay, all right. So now I will feel the pressure,
and
and
now
I will feel bad. Yeah.
no, ignore what I said previously. We are no longer.
Yep. Never mind.
I was wrong. I was wrong.
yeah, it's like three guys here admitting to being kind of lazy and caught up with life. But nobody wanted to be held like responsible or accountable for it.
I mean, I could spend time with my kid, or I could make this podcast on time.
Hey,
Your kid will understand. He doesn't need to know. He
Yeah.
can start changing his own diaper.
yeah, you have like the ultimate excuse anyway, Keegan.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's hard when it's just this unexpected thing. You popped up and like you're trying to make content and you can't, it's like a brand new situation for me, I think. Because when you're single and even when you're married and like you can find time, but when you have kids, it's like this whole level of commitment that at home that you didn't have before. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because even at work, you can kind of doodle a little bit, I think, like
Yeah.
here and there. Yeah. At least your mind can wander. Yeah. But when you have kids, your mind can't wander because they'll pick something up they will choke on and you
Yeah,
can't
you're
like
you're responsible for another human being.
right, exactly. Yeah. So
Like
yeah, so
you
it's just like a struggle right
want to
now.
be independent, it's just not going to happen. And yours is only like however many months old now. So
8 months. Yeah, 8 months. Yeah. He's really tall too. He's off the charts tall for his age. Yeah. But not his weight. His weight is normal. So I don't know why I told you that. He was just like that. So, but see, that's what parents do. They just talk about their kids. There you go. Yeah. Thanks. Thanks for listening to this podcast. Bye.
There's only been times where like we've also seen King just always like reach down, pick up either a cat or a baby and during the podcast, like, hold on, guys, I gotta do something about this.
Yeah, I've got a cat as well, and you know, if I've been on video calls with work, and you know, there's just like a tail that just goes across the screen, I'm like, oh my god. But I'm shutting out for this one, so you have my undivided attention.
Cool. So, what's next? Are you gonna write stories or more comics, or yeah, what are you planning?
Yeah, so the other comics that I have lined up are more kind of like skits. So um, where I've been with the current story, it's like you know, we started talking back in like June or July or something like that. I'm like, Keegan, I would love to, but I'm at this point where I just want to get like, I want it to make sense,
Yeah.
and still nobody else has picked up the whole thing with the Mandelbrot set. So it's called Mandel Brothers, which is the first part of Mandelbrot, and the shape of the cold brew, the Mandelbrew 1000. It's the shape of the Mandelbrot set, and there's a whole reason for all of that, and all of the reasons around why Mr. Bags has like a colostomy bag, and the love interest, and there's all of this other stuff to it, which I would love to kind of build out and extrapolate and you know, do something more with. But I've got
Hold on. We have listeners. What is the Mandelbrot set? Because I had to Google it, and I'm sure that people are listening and don't understand.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
I mean, I'm not a mathematician, so it's probably best for somebody else to look at it as well. There's a really cool channel on YouTube called Veritasium
Okay.
that has stuff about it, but it was something that was I'd say discovered, but I don't know if discovery is really the term for it. In like the 80s by a mathematician called Benoit Mandelbrot. And it's the way that you can take numbers and sort of fractals, and the shape of it goes on forever and ever and ever and ever. So in the same way that the comic, where they're kind of locked into those 3 days, it
Yeah.
goes on and ever and ever and ever.
Oh, cool.
So yeah, there's this whole reason behind that and everything as well. But yeah,
That's so deep.
I can go off on a tangent, but I'm not going to be able to do it justice. So
Okay. No, that's okay. No, I think you kind of explained it.
You
Yeah.
gave us a lot to.
Yeah, it's like infinity, right? Yeah, sort of like, but
exactly.
with the same numbers, the same
Yeah,
numbers.
Like God's thumbprint or God's fingerprint, because it's the bifurcation of numbers and the way that you get two different numbers out of the same formula. And then there's numbers that are part of the set and numbers that are not part of the set. But the shapes that they create repeat over and over and over and over again.
Oh, cool. Okay. And so yes, so I noticed that the coffee machine had a weird shape, yeah. And so I did notice that much, but I didn't catch that it was the Mandelbrot set. And
yeah,
and
kind of.
and I didn't quite catch that like the same 3 days were repeating over and over. But I did, you did notice that the old guy comes back.
I thought the old guy was just
Yeah.
coming back because he needed to go to the bathroom. I thought it was very less scientific. I thought he was like, oh, I need to go to the bathroom. Well, this place is open. So before, like, I also have like a real job now. I used to work at a comic book store, and every Sunday, like clockwork, we'd have this old lady who would buy a single comic and then use the bathroom. And it was like, you could just, use your own bathroom. You didn't have to come in, but
yeah, I think if you worked in customer service, that we all have those customers, right? Mm-hmm. Especially in those customer facing roles. There was a bar that I used to work at that was open in the morning and people would come in for coffee. Mm-hmm. And there was this old woman that always used to come in asking for a cafetina. Nobody else knew what it meant, but I kind of got it right after a few attempts. But she would just sit there with her cappuccino, and then she would like go off to the bathroom for half an hour or whatever. But she's like a 70-year-old woman. And it was what it was. But she would come in like 4 times a week.
Oh wow.
We all have those customers, really.
Yeah. So interesting.
I hope we shouldn't break the bathroom the way Mr. Bax did. Like every single time, you're just like, I'm not cleaning this again, guys.
Yeah, I mean that kind of explosion was like his colostomy bag exploding, and then he dies on the toilet. But the bit where the sky starts going dark, and then it starts closing in. The shape of the light that's left is the shape of the splat in the bathroom from Mr. Bags.
I can see that right there. Yeah.
Yeah, so that ties in again as well. And I thought, take the most iconic part of the Blair Witch Project, where the girl is just looking down the camera with the light shining up at her. I thought, do that in like 21st century and just get your phone.
Use a cell phone.
Yeah, cell phone. Exactly.
Yeah. So, and then the light goes out. He's run out of battery, and then there's another pair of eyes. So what's that going to be? But there's so many different like ways that I want to take it and can take it, and I think that I've kind of wrote the license in for myself that because it's those 3 days repeating, that I can take it in different directions and introduce new characters and loads of different things.
Oh, cool. Yeah, so interesting. That's so cool.
Yeah. But when the kind of last post where then there's the story at the end, the kind of crescent moon shapes is like 2 opening eyes. So I just took 2 of the eyes from the character creator and the splat, and then I made part of it red, part of it yellow, just going back to my like influences and inspiration with music. That was a play on a song by a band called Tool, which was Lateralis. And Tool were like a really big band for me when I was like a teenager, getting into like heavy metal and alternative music. And yeah, there are words. It starts black, then white are all I see. In my infancy, red and yellow then came to be. And so I thought, you know what, that's quite cool. You know, I'm going to play on that. So, and then you look at the artists, Alex Gray, who did like all the album covers and stuff, and it's all like super trippy, spiritual fractals and, you know, third eyes and all this kind of stuff as well. So, you know, what I was saying right back at the start about things coming back around into your orbit and different influences kind of repeating themselves. I kind of find that in my own life, and I think that if you consider it, that it probably happens throughout all of our lives, kind of fractals in your own lives.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah, just sometimes it's bigger, sometimes it's smaller, you know, different influences. But that was something that just came back around for me, and I decided to put it into my comic.
That's so cool. That's why we do the show, so that we can hear like
there's things like we would never would have
these...
realized, we never would have discovered, like wasn't told. I hate to say that it wasn't told to us, but we just like, I'm sure there's people that like get the reference right away, but again, we're dumb comic creators to say our name.
No, that's cool. I mean, you guys are basically like the first people that I've had a proper conversation with about it as well. You know, I've got like work friends and, you know, friends from outside of work, obviously. And, you know, I'll talk about the comic, but it's more like what I'm doing rather than the all of the different bits about what it's about.
Just the nuances.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, Mr. Snowden.
I actually do have one last question. You may have answered this. What exactly, or who exactly is the Wizard of Barge? Because I'm looking at your last Muggles comic. Excuse me, I'm sorry, I didn't hear that. What was that?
Yeah, he's just like an artist that I like. So.
Okay, because I clicked on that and all of a sudden it took me to his stuff. I'm like, wow, who is this guy and why is he like? I don't know if he was like a person you're gonna be working with, or.
No, he's just like some dude that I appreciate.
Oh, cool. That's good.
But he does like a lot of wizards and things like that. And the way that I kind of got into drawing digitally was from another website that I was making, which needed some illustration. And that was called AdQuizid. I won't really get into that, but it's just this. I think he's cool, like a wizard wearing like pink sunglasses, and then he's dabbing lightning bolts and different things like that. So, and then I was like, you know, getting into SVGs, and I'm like, oh my god, this is so much better because working with vectors, I can like nail those half pixels down to like 2 decimal places and really get it in the way that I think is perfect. Rather than you know, a piece of paper or using, you know, Photoshop or anything else like that, where it's more pixel based and yeah, you can't play around with it quite as much.
Interesting. So you do everything in vector. That's a first for this podcast, I think.
Really?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
That's really cool. Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty much everything's like a line tool. So
what program do you use?
So I've got like this old Illustrator.
Okay. You should look at Affinity. I talk about Affinity sometimes.
Yes, I did check that out as well. But
Affinity Designer. Designer is the vector one. Yeah.
Right. Okay. Yeah. Cool.
It's a one-time payment. That's why I plug it.
$79 or whatever it is.
Yeah. Get rid of Illustrator. Get rid of Adobe. I'm all for that. But that's cool. So vectors. Did you learn graphic design? Do you do graphic design on too, or?
No, but it's always been something that I've been interested in. Like I've got loads of like theory and graphic design books behind me. all sorts of different things, to be honest. Again, just things that I've kept in my orbit. But when I came out with Many Muggles, it's almost building like an entire brand.
Mhm.
So, there's graphic design and product design and
There is. Yeah.
marketing and everything else that goes into that as well. So, it's been a lot more than just a comic, but I've done other things as well where it's just like a creative outlet where I've come up with something else that has required, being able to look at things with like a creative or graphic design kind of eye, that perspective.
That's so cool.
Yeah. But then, things kind of take a back seat for a while because I move on to another project, or I get to like a natural point where I can't do anything else by myself. So I'm just going to park it until I can do something else that will give me some money so that I can then go back and do something in the way that I want to. But with Many Muggles and the mugs that you can get online, that's kind of like print on demand at the moment. So it's easier for me to ship to the US because there are fulfillment centers in the US and within Europe than it is like my hometown at the moment. We've dealt with Brexit and everything that's been in the news. So it's kind of been more difficult to kind of get things onto our shores because those fulfillment centers are not local, really.
Oh wow. Oh,
Wow.
okay.
Yeah. So
I mean,
with other projects, I've needed kind of like international shipping and say 1,000 units to get the economies of scale where it becomes the product becomes cheap enough that it's
Right.
compatible with competition. With like mugs, I've got full control over everything, and it's quite flexible at the moment. So I'm liking it, but yeah, to the 5 listeners, just buy a mug. I would really appreciate
I
it.
hope all 5 do buy a mug. Yes.
That's cool.
I mean, as soon as you get my haircut, I'm buying my mug. So I'm just waiting for my haircuts, and my mug will be bought. So you already have at least one, and I guess Keegan will wait for the hats. So
Yeah, well, like I said, I would love to do like a collaboration with you guys. So if you
Yeah.
want to put your dab hands to it and customize the backgrounds or add a hat or anything else that you want to do, by all means, just send it my way and I'll sort you out. So
Cool.
thank you.
that's kind of one thing that I wanted to do with the character creator as well, that everything, there's no color in it apart from the backgrounds because one, it's kind of going back to my limitations, but also people can just print out and color it in, and I can imagine it like kids doing it and just drawing things out as they want or coloring that kind of stuff in, and other comic artists and different creators that are out there kind of doing their own collaborations.
Yeah. Yeah.
The ideas I had that I would really like to do, like I was saying, with having different comics, whether they're different skits or continuations, but they're in like different dimensions and stuff. I love to do like collaborations with different comic artists where they're kind of using the character creator but building the rest of the world out themselves. So I think it lends itself really, really nicely to it, but we'll see how it goes.
Yeah. Yeah. The possibilities are there, I think.
Yeah, no, it's
a cool
definitely has
tool.
a possibility to grow. I'm definitely thinking I'm currently thinking what your pitch would be again on Shark Tank. Be like, hey, look at all these possibilities I have. I want 20,000. I want $2 billion for 5% of my company.
Oh, God. But, Kevin O'Leary is bald, so
yeah. He'd be
Yeah.
there.
Is there a bald character? Yeah.
He's going to tell me he's out, and that's going to be shut down. So
There are no sharks. If there was a shark character.
yeah, no actual sharks either. But
Yeah.
yeah, we'll see. The other thing that I'm getting into at the moment with it is kind of NFTs. I jumped on a bandwagon. I only found out about CryptoPunks like early on in September. And I looked at it and I put on my website, forget the pixelated splodges and the anthropomorphic animals, because that's kind of like a lot of NFTs out there at the moment. But
Yeah.
with a character creator, because there's like billions of possibilities, and there's a way that I can programmatically create random muggles. If you go to manymuggles.com/random and just
Oh,
keep it fresh, then it will give you like a taste of just random carnage, really. So there's a lot of like really weird, stupid
And,
muggles.
and it tells
Um,
like which one is like eyes is 10, nose 42, mouth 19, jawline.
yeah, exactly. So that's kind of like for me. But with NFTs, it's about being able to prove the rarity. So by highlighting that, I've not built any of this out at the moment. I'm learning how to create dApps and go through that whole process of like minting and everything. And the barrier to entry seems to be like really high, but
it's
everybody's doing
so
it.
high. Yeah, I looked at this too. It's so high.
Yeah.
uh,
And I'm like, oh my God, please just make it easier, right? Because I've
right.
got something here that's like ready to go, but I'm too dumb to work it
You
out for
have to
myself.
sign up for like 4 different services and then connect them and yeah,
Exactly. Like,
also
mental,
pay like $200 per, thingamajig.
yeah, the gas fees, right?
Right.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm like, I don't have any money. So
Right. Yeah. Who's this for? I think it's just for rich kids, right?
yeah,
I don't know.
exactly. But money makes money, right? So yeah, we'll see. I'm trying to get into that at the moment. That's really interesting, but I'm getting loads of like spammers on my Many Muggles account, just promoting different NFTs. So
Oh yeah.
I'll
Yeah.
look at it and I'll see what's out there and what other people are doing, and I'm like, yeah, mine's better, mine's better, mine's better. Because I think as an idea, it's got legs, but that's kind of what's keeping me in it, and keeping me motivated rather than moving on to something else, because I actually really like the idea, and we'll just see how it goes. I did all of this during lockdown as a way to kind of keep me sane. Like I said, my mental health was kind of suffering, and I think that was true for a lot of people. But finding that way to kind of keep me tethered to reality was, really fortunate. Um, but thinking like realizing your own mortality, and that not everybody gets to grow up and get old, and anybody can pass away, as unfortunately millions of people did, that I was like, oh my God, I need to get to a point where like I can publish something and I can get something out there, so all of this time isn't wasted. And I got to that point, but now it's kind of like the next chapter.
Yeah. Yeah. Where does this go from here? That's
Yeah,
cool.
for sure.
Cool. Any other questions, Nick?
I do not have any.
Okay. I do not have any either. Why did you say it like that? That's so weird.
I don't know, because you're like the way you asked me. Do you have any more questions? Like, no.
I asked in a normal tone. Do you have any more
No, I'm pretty
questions,
sure
Nick?
you're like J'accuse. Okay, sorry to put the French in, Mr. British man.
Should we ask more British questions? Can we ask more British questions?
Of course you can.
Can you speak for your entire
I
country on
can
every
speak
single
for all
matter, no matter
British
what we
people,
ask,
so-
even no matter how irrelevant it is?
Sorry,
Um,
Eric, what?
Can you speak for your entire country on every single matter, no matter how irrelevant or inappropriate the question is?
I'm not that diplomatic, so unfortunately not.
Oh,
Far
okay.
away.
All right. That's fine then.
Do you watch Love Island, the UK version?
No,
No.
no.
Well, then we have nothing to discuss.
My girlfriend has watched it previously, but at the moment it's more Drag Race UK is actually pretty decent after you get over the kind of guys in drag concept.
Yeah.
Drama is quite fun. And Married at First Sight Australia. I've not been watching that season, but it's all garbage TV, right?
Do you get a lot of Australian shows there?
Excuse me.
Do you get a lot of Australian shows?
I mean, they're an ex-colony, but I don't think that's the reason why we get a lot of Australian TV. Things like Home and Away and Neighbours were always really big kind of growing up, but that's like soaps. Soaps are like a big deal over here, but not with my generation.
No. Okay. That makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you watch Survivor?
No,
Okay.
no.
I'm just wondering that they don't have an
I think
English
he's
Survivor. I think.
I think we're good now, Keegan.
Why? I want to talk. I've been watching the love. That was my lockdown like binge thing that kept me sane was the UK Love Island with like the Scottish narrator. And it was very interesting. It was just
Yeah.
like it was sort of like watching like a zoo full of English people, I guess.
Yeah, exactly. You know, these kind of dirty little TV secrets that are coming out between us. Hey, Keegan.
Yeah.
Eric wants to wrap up the show because he doesn't want us to ask about what he's been watching. But,
Yeah.
but clearly,
That's
I
what I've
think
been watching. Is something that good. I watched the movie Dune yesterday. That was like my big thing I watched, and then I'm watching The Way of the House Husbands, which is an anime.
Right. Okay. Can I just ask Eric if you've been watching Friday the 13th recently?
No, I have not. I've not watched any of those movies. I've literally watched zero of this entire movie series. I know. I also look like Freddy Krueger right now with my sweater.
He is dressed that way. Yeah, he is
I know.
dressed that way.
You notice I never show my right. Oh, there's my right hand.
He thinks that's fashion. That's his fashion.
I think this is a comfy sweater for me to wear. This sweater
his
is huge
fashion.
on me. Look at
That's-
this. This is my hand.
That's cool. Like, who cares about fashion? Like, honestly, I know I'm wearing like a Vans jumper at the moment, but
I thought it was a math. I said this root answer. I thought it said root answer. I never saw the very bottom part of it. Oh,
yeah,
bands.
unfortunately,
I
no,
thought it was-
it's not.
I thought it was math. I thought it was root answer.
Yeah, like a math joke. I've already said that I'm terrible at math. So.
Well, you had a math. Your coffee's a math joke. That's I'm like, oh, that makes perfect sense with your shirt, though.
That's it. You've caught me out, Eric.
You thought the Vans logo was a square root sign?
Root answer. No, because so a while ago when I was a math teacher, like there was a coworker of mine who always wore a root answer shirt because like it was his like joke. He's like, "What's the root answer?" To every single question. And he's like, "You can point to his shirt or whatever."
Yeah, it really does look like that. Yeah, you're right.
But no, I can also see why it's Vans too.
Okay.
Enough plugging some major brand.
Yeah. Chris, thank you so much for coming on.
Thank
Or
you so
Mr.
much.
Mr. Muggles is you've asked us to call you Mr. Muggles several times.
Mr.
And-
Edward Snowden.
Yeah.
Yeah, or whatever kind of bastardization of my name that Eric came out with at the start.
I said Sniden. That's what I said. Or Snyder.
Sniden.
Sniden.
It's just not a funny bit.
No, I think it's hilarious. Mostly because it annoys you so much.
It does. Just say the name correctly.
I did. I said it right.
Okay. Yeah, Chris, thanks for coming on. It was really, I mean, like, what an interesting series, and we hope that you continue. And yeah, and everyone should buy a mug for sure. And you can find Chris's stuff on at Many Muggles and manymuggles.com, right? Yeah.
Exactly.
Cool.
Many Muggles on everything.
All right. Thanks.
Thank
Thank
you.
you so much.